It's working.
And we're back.
It's working.
Hope you're enjoying season 2 of Metal Massacre. We've had a couple really big bangers kind of in the beginning here.
Actually, yeah.
Now that you say it.
Yeah, we're doing cool shit.
Yeah, I was really happy to get Lucas on the show. We've known him forever. He's worked with Molten for a while. Mm-hmm. And to actually hear some of those stories, given the current context, is just insane.
Right.
Like, this is just wild. So thank you, Lucas, for coming on and sharing some of the wild stuff you went through with certain bands and certain band members and certain venues. And it was a fun look at the booking side of the metal scene. And I don't think that people really get that look too often.
No, and like it's always fun to talk with someone, again, that's on the grassroots ground level doing shit within a community, because obviously, you know, there's your power players in every market that are really going to be pushing and bringing. Someone's got to be bringing the big bands to the arena. Someone's got to be pushing, like, you know, the 5,000 people shows. Yeah. But even more so, someone still needs to be providing an outlet for people that, like, hey, I'm bringing this band here because, trust me, they're going to be somebody, or they're out on tour and I think they're rad. And we need those people, not like now more than ever, but like, no, they've always been important. And to be able to kind of talk with someone like Lucas, and it's kind of weird though that, like I said, this is like our first episode that we've actually like addressed all of you individually so far. Sure. But yeah, it was pretty cool to kind of get a retrospective of these first 2 episodes and get to talk with him and Levi from Miss May I.
Yeah, Levi was a doll. That guy was so cool. I was blown away by how nice he was. You know, a lot of the times we get thrown these interviews and you don't really know who's going to be on the other end of the call, and you try to bring your best foot forward and make it a fun, positive experience for everybody. But having someone kind of play with that energy with you, I think right when we got off the call, I called you and I was like, that felt like a concert where the crowd is working really well with the band.
Yeah, I agree. And like you said, you never know. I think it's a little bit different for us than, like, we're in a unique situation and spot where, like, let's say you're interviewing, you have a podcast and you have the comedian circuit coming around. It's one guy.
Yeah.
Like, or one girl. And you know who you're getting, essentially, and their body of work. But when we're interviewing musicians, unless they're prolific for some shit that they've said or done or whatever it might be, first of all, half the time when our PR agents come and give us a band, they're like, yeah, you want to talk to Miss May I? I'm like, hell yeah. I don't know if it's going to be their drummer, the front of house.
We generally don't know until, like, maybe, I mean, sometimes they'll tell us, like, hey, here's who it is. Yeah. But then other times it's just like, hey, we'll send them the link and you'll just show up.
Yep. So it could be, sometimes we've gotten a whole band.
Yeah.
Sometimes we've gotten just the bassist. Sometimes, in this case, it was actually pretty cool to get, like I said, the lead singer from Miss May I, which is really, really nice of him. And I think that everybody, you know, does the due diligence to send their best representative, regardless of who's the most charismatic.
Yeah.
Like, who's the one that's going to do the best for them.
Who's the talker.
But it is a unique situation that we're always usually set with ourselves in, because it's like, well, you're going to get one of the bands. And then also, a lot of the times, like I said, if it's a comedian or if it's an actor or if it's someone, they're a personality.
Yeah.
But a band, normally, like, unless the guy's, you know, running the crowd, I have no idea what the drummer from so-and-so's actual personality is like. It doesn't reflect in their comedy. It doesn't reflect in their work. They don't give speeches. Like, so I think what not only what we're doing to give ourselves props is tough, but it's pretty cool, because it's giving people that normally you love them for what they do, but maybe not who they are, not because they've done anything wrong. You just don't know them. And so to be able to give, like, an expose, especially when it is someone that isn't already the lead singer, who is the most usually right on the front of the stage and everyone's talking to the crowd, and you can get a feel for their personality. Talking to some of these guys, like I said, are usually just behind a guitar and are traveling the world. Their experiences are fucking really cool. Yeah. And you get to hear things that people are only going to get out of them, because you don't get that in their media.
And I think that's why I love this podcast so much and doing this with you, because me and you have gotten really good at opening people up, and not in a forceful way, not in a way that's clickbaity, not in a way that's hard-hitting journalism. We're just 2 dudes that enjoy the genre, and I think that comes through a lot when we talk to people, because it doesn't seem forced.
I certainly hope so.
Yeah, I think we've gotten to that point now where, I mean, even in this season, you can tell that the conversations have just gotten better, and you know, the biggest thing we tell each other on this show is shut up and let them talk, because me and you know we're just there to guide things, but people are listening to hear Levi. You know, they're not clicking on the Levi episode to go, I wonder what Lucian thinks. You know, like no one fucking does that. So like there's always like, and I think every interviewer has to fight that, because you're always kind of like, oh, fuck, that makes me want to say something. And then you have the perfect thing to say, but then they're still going, and you have to let them stop. But by the time they stop, you might have forgotten the thing you were going to say. Or it wouldn't make sense anymore in the continuity of the conversation, which is, it's kind of an art in itself. I think, you know, we've done a few podcasts together at this point. We've kind of built that rapport with each other creatively, and I think now it's just so much fun to see the fruits of that labor in a genre that we love. Yeah,
this is much more streamlined, and again, I'm never gonna throw shade, honestly. Flat out, shout out the Weekly Geekly, man. That's where we started.
Yep, that's our origin story there.
It's where it came, and it's still going. Devin's doing a great job. If you'd like to give the Weekly Geekly a follow, please do.
He's taking some big swings. I will say hats off to that. I know he's trying to do a cooking show right now. It's like, all right, dude, fucking go for it. He sent me the pilot like last week.
I still have admin credits. I need this on my desk.
It's called Buzzed and Baked.
I like it.
And it's just him getting buzzed and baked and making food. And I was like, all right. I gave him a couple notes on things I'd tweak.
I'm gonna light this dab, and then I'm gonna roast the creme brulee.
Pretty much. I'm gonna make a birthday cake. I'm super fucking high. That's Devin. But yeah, no, he's doing really cool stuff, and he's full of ideas. And I know it's hard to be the idea man and the guy in the front seat, but I think he's starting to learn those lessons and get to where he should be. So proud of you, Devin, at the Weekly Geekly, and all the dudes there that are still helping out. I know Ryan stepped up big.
Yeah, man.
So and those guys, we love them. So if you are kind of a pop culture geeky person, go check out the Weekly Geekly on any of the platforms.
And it's easy not only to find them, but obviously here comes a little plug. If you're hopping in our Discord ever, if you guys want to be part of the show, and it's very simple, discord.gg/Metal Massacre. All of their stuff is there, because it was originally our home where we were building geekly content, and then as we morphed the show into this, we still decided to keep everything there. And obviously it's just I'm looking at it right now on the screen. We have over 15 different spots where you can post memes, talk sports, or go over comic books and go movies.
And honestly, this is where you get the news for Metal Massacre first. So if you want to know who's coming up on the show before anyone else, if you want exclusive sneak peeks to stuff, if you just want to find some people to game with and have a good time, our Discord server is probably the perfect place for you. So join us.
Costs you nothing. Discord's free. If you'd like to boost us, or if you'd like to subscribe to our Patreon, you can find all of that under Metal Massacre, and we'd love the support. It helps us do cooler interviews, and some people want a guarantee. You have to, if you're booking somebody, they might want $40 to $100 for an hour, or to be able to get a question and answer interview from Randy Blythe. You have to basically pay him to do that. And so you guys supporting us, again, this turned into the ad break, but let's just get that out the way now.
It does help us do that stuff. Yeah, you're right.
It's why we're here, and it really helps us grow not only the show, but put more money into advertising. Shout out Big Dob's Beard Balm, things like that, where we can scratch everybody's back and be able to be involved. But we're just still going to goof with you for a little while. We just wanted to come in and say hey, because we hadn't really introduced ourselves besides in the episodes that have been ran in full length, and we normally put something at the top. So
it's also been a minute since we've recorded. I mean, we've been on kind of a small hiatus since season 1 finished, and this show is unique in the way of how we record it, because we'll do the interviews first, and we'll hold on to those interviews for a month or so, and in that month we'll start going, okay, well, what are things that are relevant to the discussion that we could formulate an episode around and make it one big cohesive piece,
which is what we're doing here before we talk with Trench later.
And so I think it's been maybe 2 weeks since we recorded last with Levi, maybe that was
last week.
Oh shit, that was last week, dude.
And then this one with Trench is been about a month.
Yeah, or so. I swear, I'm losing my mind on timing, man. I'm one of these days I'm gonna make a mistake and just drop the whole season, and everyone's gonna be like, "What the fuck?
Why is this 9-hour episode?" I'm like, "Fuck!
Why are all the episodes out right now?" I don't know, man.
And again, we were talking about being put in a unique situation with our podcast, but something that honestly is, we're just tearing back the wall and saying hello to all of you. Like I said, because we're pulling the curtain back in season 2, but something I think that happens a lot, both in all podcasting, when you have celebrities or whoever it is, they have things to promote, and so they do presser runs usually about like a month before the thing that they're trying to do, whether in this case it's a tour or an album, or in the case of a comedian, a Netflix special, or whatever the fuck you're trying to do. So that's why people are like, this, because we've gotten some feedback, like, I love you guys' format of the show, whatever that means. Because like sometimes it's one straight episode, and sometimes like this, we're going to just like, hey, let's record something and say hi to all the viewers, basically.
We're going to goof with you before the interview. Yeah. It just depends on how it goes, you know, and also the interview itself. Like if we get shorter interviews, like the Alicia Vigil one from Dragon Force, I love her. She's so nice for doing that. But we only had like 10 to 15 minutes, so there's only so much you can get out. Obviously, we're going to put an episode around that. But then this Miss May I episode was so big that it's like, what else do you add?
Yeah,
you know?
We had Lucas in studio. So it was like actually like our first like in-house guest for that. So that was like, it didn't feel like it had a need. And it was like talking with a long friend that we've basically had. Even though we haven't dug deep and actually hung out with him like that, we've seen him and worked with him so many times. Right. It was nice to sit down and just say, hey.
Really good guy. I'm super happy with what he's been doing for the Midwest
Omaha's
community.
most hated booker.
He's so awesome. But yeah, I've been having a lot of fun just like in the process of making this show. I think not just schedule wise, but content wise, and everything we're doing just to me feels fulfilling, and it hits. And I'm just excited to see where season 2 ends up, because we're still booking it, man. Like, I think we're about halfway through recording season 2, maybe almost there.
But we're still getting offers. We're still getting stuff that we technically have canned that we're deciding if we wanted to be Patreon exclusive.
Oh yeah, there's one I forgot to bring up to you before the recording that I need to pitch to you real quick. But we got another one coming up probably in October to record. So. That one will be a little more spooky.
Ooh.
Yeah, it'll be more of a spooky episode.
Man, I'm just excited, though, because, like, again, what's the time you're listening to this episode? It'll be basically October. And, man, the summer's been fun as fuck, but I am ready for bonfires and football and ciders and sitting around in a hoodie.
Yeah. I was just saying that with the wife.
I'm tired of the heat, brother.
I'm so tired of it, and I just want the hoodie weather to be back. I've acquired such a niche hoodie collection in the last 3 years that I'm like, I really want to rock these and I can't. And last night I went to the gas station across the street and it was like 65 degrees out with no sun, and I was like, hoodie time. Like, it felt so good, dude. I was like, fall.
Swaddled.
I think fall's also like my favorite season because it's like spooky time. We always play Dead by Daylight. You get into darker, weirder shit in the fall because it's like the last remnant of summer before the cold, icy earth.
Yeah.
So you're like,
I don't like is the getting dark earlier.
I don't mind that because it's like, what are you fucking doing at night anyway? You know, like.
But the day lasts longer. I do more stuff. And when it's just, I mean, to make jokes, but I'm like, normally, like in the winter when it's like dark at 6:30, it's like, well, I can get hammered. It's dark. Like, brother, it's 7 p.m. and you got shit to do still. Like, well, but it's dark.
True. I do kind of like going to playing shows in the fall, winter better because it is darker sooner. So if you're playing early, you're like, it's still dark.
Yeah. Dude, yeah, I guess like the summer is great for shows because people are more enthralled to go outside and like.
But I hate playing when the sun's up, man. It's fucking bummer.
Yeah, when you're getting like an 8 p.m. spot and the sun's bright as hell, and
it's like shining through the windows of the venue, and you're like, ugh.
If you're playing some nice reggae or like something like that.
Sure, that works.
But like, yeah, you don't. It's supposed to be like you don't play jazz during the day,
right? Or like metal, you know, it's kind of a nighttime thing. And unless you're playing in a huge open air festival, like it's all day long, I just don't like doing day shows.
The club atmosphere. I mean, there's a reason that they keep like casinos bright and loud, so you don't know what time it is the whole time.
There's no windows or clocks.
And there's a reason that, again, on the opposite, that they keep like dive bars like basically pitch black at 3 p.m. because they want the debauchery to be able to take hold.
That's true. Yeah,
mood and lighting and setting is huge, and playing a well lit venue with the light streaming in when you're trying to scream about demons doesn't feel very authentic.
Like, if you're Omaha or Nebraska or I guess Midwest local, November 2nd, we are playing with Narcotic Self, Neo Soul, and Beast Eagle at the Waiting Room. We're opening up that show. So we're hoping to have a really fun turnout and kind of make things crazy to start that show. So come on out to the waiting room. I've never played with Narcotic Self before. They've been around since we were kids.
Yeah, well, we did sort of. We played that one festival.
Well, sure. I don't know if I'd really count playing a festival as playing with another band,
like 20 bands.
Yeah, because there's like 15 every day, and you're like, oh my God, I got 10 seconds to move my gear. Yeah. Like, it doesn't feel as much of a. I mean, it is a show, but because it's bigger, I guess it doesn't count as much. It doesn't
feel like you're working directly with those people like you do when you're booking a show and having to sell a fuckload of tickets for a 3-band bill or something like that. Yeah, it's a little different, man.
But yeah, that'll be fun to play with them for the first time technically and have a show with them. And I know Jake's super fucking stoked.
Oh yeah, his cousin is the drummer, so that's why.
I thought he was the guitarist. Why did I think that?
No, my dad's buddy Rich. He's the one, the guitar player that fixes.
Dude with the big beard.
Yeah, Rich Johnson is arguably worldwide. He's renowned as being one of the best guitar. Not like we say guitar tech. It seems like he's like the guy that tours and roadies. No, like he works at a music shop and it's all his whole living is just fixing, intonating, tuning, repairing, upgrading guitars. That's all he does, and he's honestly one of the world's best at it. He's really, really good.
That's cool.
And he's really, really nice. Shout out him at Dietz. But same, like I said, like I think that's what our, not like buddy, but when we interviewed Gorgatron last season, their guitar player Coop, who there's a dude from Omaha here as well, works at the other Dietz doing the exact same thing. He's like a bit of a salesman, but also just repairs guitars and does that shit in the other locations. So yeah, we're getting deep in the weeds locally here, but again, we have a lot of people that are around the city that like to listen to the show. So shout out those guys again. Thanks for fixing up a bunch of my shit because I like to throw it.
And come see Rich and the rest of Narcotic Self on November 2nd at the waiting room. We'll be there. We'll be selling merch and being weirdos and drinking, having a good time.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to shower in the green room. I already called it 3 times. It's going to happen. I've never used the shower at the waiting room. And I've always needed to. And I've never gotten to. So I'm like, I'm bringing some body wash. No one come in here for 10 minutes, okay?
Please and thank you. I'm trying to leave fresh.
There is a door between the bathroom and the green room, so I don't think anyone's going to see me naked. But
I want to kick it open. I'm going to kick it down.
You have 5 minutes till stage call. Fucking get out.
Put your wiener away and get out here.
Well, guys, we have a really fun interview
with Trench
coming up.
Calgary-based band.
I'm super excited.
Honestly, not only was the interview a great time, and they really were someone that I had heard of and listened to, and then when I realized that we were getting the interview and dug in, I was like, oh yeah, I've listened to a lot of this shit.
Yeah.
And it's really good. They're doing this tour promoting because they just gotten back from, I believe, going. It's in the interview. Again, we did this like months before, but they had just gotten off a tour. They're on a tiny break, and then they're heading back out again.
Yeah, they might have already started. I don't remember.
But their new EP, essentially, but that turned into basically a full album, 10 songs, Between Inverted Worlds. Came out mid-August, so by the time you guys are getting this, it's only been out for about like a month. They're on the road right now. Calgary-based band Trench. These guys ruled, and we were lucky enough to sit down and talk with them for a pretty solid, the rest of the episode.
Yeah, so I'm super stoked because this is one of those bands that they really craft an experience in their album, and we get to talk a little more in depth of that. I've kind of dug into the album a little bit so far. And I'm excited to finish because I want to get that full experience. But without further ado, here's our interview. What is going on, metalheads? You're listening to another episode of Metal Massacre. As always, I'm the weirdo with a beardo, Lucian. With me, the czar of gnar, Dustin. And we have a special guest today, Cole from the band Trench. Before I even get into anything, Cole, before we even start, I gotta say, I have been obsessing over your music for the last, 3 weeks.
Thank you.
Dude, you guys are doing some cool shit. Thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely. Happy to be here. Thank you for asking me to come on, man. It's a pleasure.
Hell yeah, dude. Honestly, that's kind of how I wanted to discuss your music. It was as a pleasure because one of the main things that kind of hit me while I was listening to especially the new EP was it's very relaxing. And I don't find that very often in heavier music. For me, heavier music is always ramp up. It's always, you know what I mean? Like that aggression into a breakdown. You guys have this crazy style of pulling off aggression
in like a very chill way. It's still very heavy, but God, it's relaxing as hell. Was that something you intended to achieve with your music, or is that just me being crazy?
No, I definitely feel where you're coming from on that. I think we were, when we write our music, it's very much like a journey. We try and take you up, bring you down, take you up, bring you down. So the fact that you're saying that is kind of it's a compliment, honestly. I think like a lot of the samples and stuff in between kind of help with that. They kind of give it a little bit more of like a cinematic vibe or a theatrical vibe. And then obviously our new song Dust to Bone has like a big singing breakdown kind of ballad style song almost, right? So yeah, no, you're definitely not crazy, man. I appreciate that. I think that's a good way to explain it.
I appreciate that, but it still remains to be seen if I'm crazy or not. Divided Existence, is that what you're referencing right there?
Yeah, the kind of like theatrical, I guess,
interlude,
like
I guess.
Stuff.
Yeah. I think that was a nice connection. And I'm gonna use a word that Dustin uses, and I'm gonna kill it, Dustin. It was a nice connective tissue to the album or to the EP because it creates a sense of atmosphere. And when you do that with music, there's almost more of a heavier general theme or aesthetic to it. And I mean, even if you just go to your Spotify page and visually look, you guys have an aesthetic. And you found that I don't want to call it a niche because it's not. It's really kind of finding your own way into a genre of your own. I think that's really beautiful, man.
Thank you, man. Yeah, we try and do like unique stuff, I guess. I know for like Divided Existence, like when I was making those electronics, I was making them to the anime video that goes with those songs. The video was actually done like before the songs were even finished being written. So that was cool because I got to watch this like really epic, like spacey anime video and write electronics and production to that, which was really cool. So yeah, trying to do some new stuff, man, that maybe we don't hear too often. So it means a lot that you say that. That's like massive compliment that you think it's unique,
Oh, of course, man. I mean, you guys have fully earned that. I think it's definitely something rooted in like the kind of music that brought me and Dusty together. You know what I mean? As friends in our youth, was finding these heavier bands that somehow didn't fit the mold in a really good way. And I think this definitely harkens back to that feeling, but does more with it. You know what I mean? You guys do a lot with your music. And one thing Dustin said, he was like, this is a hardcore staple. I was like, I love that all of your music is under 4 minutes.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, man, we try and make it like decently easily digestible for the listener. I think there's a time and a place for long songs. We're just not that band. You know what I mean? Like we just really aren't that band. I mean, who knows what happens in the future, but yeah, we get a lot of comments on the shortness of the songs, and usually they're positive comments. So and we don't really try. That's just kind of how they come out. Yeah, well, it's, appreciate you.
Classic, not like overstaying your welcome in that kind of regard. And I think that like, well, like what me and him do, not to make it about us, is like we play a lot of thrash metal, and again, a staple of that is let's go 9 minutes.
Yeah, but 6-minute jams. That's just the way it is. Yeah,
lots of big crescendos and big riffs. But what I love about besides all the things he's brought up and how you guys play with tones and play with music, is that you stick to this like it's very reminiscent of like 2000s, what used to be considered metalcore then, like your Acacia Strain stuff, where it's a couple minutes long It's obviously really, really heavy, but it's got the beat down. It's got the quickness. It gets to the point. It gets in your face. And then we're going to move on to the next thing and give you a different taste so that the entire album or EP doesn't feel like the exact same thing over and over and over and over, which is kind of like the downfall of a lot of quicker, faster, angrier music that is quick like that, that it's here's this, here's this, here's this, here's this. And then the album's done. You're like, that wasn't one song. What the fuck? Like, but what you guys do, since I've been, honestly, I found you guys during COVID. And when Lucian got the email from our PR people to, hey, do you guys want Trench? I was like, yes, I do immediately, because I know that what you guys do lends itself to really being able to play with a lot of different themes. And we've already gone over that a couple of times, but so I really don't have a question. I just want to say, I think that you guys are right in the vein of doing exactly what you need to do to pop off the way that it should. And it shows. You guys have been absolutely killing it. So I did want to ask, you got to be tired, man. You just got back from touring the U.S. with Misery Signals and all sorts of stuff, dude. And then you're going on a Canadian leg about when the time this will release in September, along with your guys' new EP. You're taking some good, sweet time in between, I'm sure. But how has this whole year been for you? It's been, you guys played some really cool venues, it looks like.
Man, it's been a crazy, crazy year for us. It's been super fun. Yeah, the Misery Signals tour was like amazing. They're, you know, one of our kind of favorite bands growing up. From, you know, being from Alberta, I was lucky enough to watch that band every few months come through Calgary, which is where I'm from. So they're a very pivotal band from where I reside, but to be able to see them every night in the US and just see how important they are to everyone. It was wild, man. It was such a trip. I love those dudes. I love that band. Tour was amazing. We played some bucket list venues that we got to cross off. We played to way more people than I thought we would have on that tour.
Yeah, some of these album
massive shows. Yeah,
insane, massive. You're packing out clubs to theaters to, I mean, from smaller to larger, for better or worse, whatever it's worth. But I saw you guys sold out plenty of shows as well. So again, hats off to you guys. Is there because you sold out New York City and you played some standout venues. I mean, our audience is all just a bunch of metalheads that loves hearing behind the scenes stuff. You have some favorites that you stopped at the tour, some standout areas?
Man, every area was awesome. New York City was amazing. 2 sold out nights at the Warsaw in Brooklyn. It was funny, man. We got to New York and we were like, no one's going to know who the hell we are here, you know? And people were super nice and super down and, you know, really wanted to check out the set, and they came early to watch us. And that was kind of the case on the whole tour. It was, it seemed like people kind of caught a little bit of the buzz of Trench and maybe were coming early to check us out. So New York was a standout. LA was amazing. Treated us really well in LA. Denver was crazy, man. We played with this band Mouth for War and they blew me away. They're super good. And the crowd was crazy for Denver. And then the last 2 shows in Toronto, you know, Misery Signals in Canada kind of just go hand in hand. Canadians love Misery Signals, especially in Toronto and stuff. So, yeah, we got to play Danforth Music Hall, which is a legendary Canadian venue. I think there was 1,500 people sold out.
Damn.
So that was really, honestly, man, it's hard to pick. The whole tour was mind-blowing show after mind-blowing show. So, you know, I got to give it to Misery Signals. They were in the pocket every night. Their fans are amazing. They really have built something special with that band. So yeah, we were stoked to come along for the ride. It was, for us, it was really intense. It was really in a good way, you know?
Yeah.
We felt the love, you know. So
that's awesome. That's really cool, man. You guys deserve it. You make such beautiful music, and from everything I can tell, you seem like wonderful people. I do have an audience question for you.
Sure.
One of my buddies messaged me today. He was like, "Hey, if you're having anybody on from Trench, I want to know if they have any goofy, wild, crazy, scary tour stories."
Scary tour stories.
Or goofy or weird or wild. They don't have to be scary. He was just like, man, I'm really curious. You guys got to ask. And I was like, all right, I'll squeeze it in.
I mean, there's always crazy stuff happening on tour, I feel. Let me think. That's a really good question. I think on this tour, what was crazy was the people that were coming out to the shows that were like in big bands that we looked up to or still look up to. You know, we were just chilling at the New York show, and homie from Lorna Shore came up and bought a t-shirt, and he was stoked on the band and stuff. So just little stuff like that, man. Yeah, just I don't know. The whole tour is weird and crazy, and crazy shit happens all the time, you know.
Those
I guess
things turn into a blur.
Yeah, they turn into a blur, but you know, it's funny, man, because behind the scenes, you know, all we're really doing is like driving to the next show, to our next hotel. So there was some wild, like 14-hour van drives in between some of those shows. And, you know, you wake up at like 3 a.m. at a truck stop somewhere, and you're trying to buy some food. And yeah, it's just wild, man, like being in the middle of nowhere. We drove through Nebraska, actually, where you guys are from. And yeah, I remember.
I'm so sorry.
And it's funny. Like, I remember I didn't know what states like weed was legal in. From Canada, obviously there's, you know, it's just legal everywhere here. There's no rules, right? So I'd wake up and, like, you know, we'd be in the middle of nowhere in Nebraska or Ohio or something, and I'd be like, oh, they sell weed pens. We're good, you know, at the gas station nonetheless, you know what I mean? But that was really funny. Just like, where can we have this? Where can we not, you know? But as far as like crazy tour stories, like, we're a pretty chill group of dudes, Trench. We're all like best friends. So the two of the guys in my band love to skateboard, so they were looking for skate parks the whole time. We went to Universal Studios, not crazy or wild, but that's
pretty crazy. See, I'm not talking about like, you know, you saw some guy fly out of a hotel window. I don't need anything like that. You know, just like, what were the fun, crazy bits? Dude, I'm not looking for the dark shit.
Right? I almost missed the LA show because I was in line at Jurassic World. So that was wild. That was a stressful moment, man, because
that's awesome.
I was texting the tour manager, and he's like, how long are you going to be? And I was like, dude, I think we can make it. You know, they keep saying over the loudspeaker, it's like 40 minutes for the line. So we're going to try it. And we just got so close to the front that we're like, we can't leave now. We're just doing it.
We're this far in, baby. Let's go.
But then you got to deal with LA traffic, and that was a close call. I think I got there like maybe 5 minutes before we had to sound check. So I like quickly ripped in there, sound checked, and then like doors opened right then. So we made it, you know, but that was crazy. Funny.
That's a crazy story right there.
It was worth going on the ride. That was a great ride. It was fun.
Did it fuel you for the concert? Were you like still off your adrenaline for the ride? Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Yeah, that whole day we were just so happy and stoked that it was a great nightcap to like play the show after, you know? And looking back, I'm like, that was a memorable day for sure.
Cole's like, hey, do we have time to go back after our set? Like, squeeze in the second round of Jurassic World. That's awesome.
Right? It's funny because like none of us really slept the night before just because of driving. And we were like, are we actually doing Universal Studios? And hell yeah, we're doing Universal. So you got to take advantage of the places you're at, man. Like, we're lucky we get to travel and be in cool ass places with the band working. So every city we're at, I try and leave the hotel and take an Uber somewhere, or, you know, walk around and kind of eat some good food, drink good coffee, like just see what the city has to offer. So it was a great tour.
That's awesome.
Great tour in that respect. Yeah.
If you guys ever come through Omaha, let us know. We'll take you out for like steaks and a really good
Hell
beer.
yeah, man. I
cool.
wish I would have known you guys then, because I would have hit you up at like 3 a.m. being like, hey, where you at?
Cole's like, can I smoke weed here? Like,
Yeah.
Yes, you could have, buddy. I got you supplied the next time you come through, my man. But
my dude, thank you.
You know it. And obviously, you know, not to harp on the weed stuff, but I wanted to bring up something that, like, I love your guys' merch. And this always sounds kind of backhanded when I say someone's brandable. So that sounds like, oh, you're just for whatever. No. What I'm saying is you guys, there's all this if green is obviously a big color to you guys. The weird, like, half the stuff, even if it looks a little bit more like edgy and gnarly, some of the stuff on like your album covers or things from like encased in chrome, it looks kind of like nugs and kind of like the hair and all that stuff. And I really think that you guys, honestly, also the album cover for Blossom, like that kind of stuff, like you guys have such a unique style with like the kanji and like all this other stuff that you have across there besides what you've been building and what you're trying to sell. Is that something you got? Because musicians are artists, but I can't draw and I'm really not a visual guy. Do you guys kind of do some of that in-house? Do you hire people? I mean, like everybody does AI bullshit nowadays too, which honestly, I ain't even mad at people for, but like, I really, really love, I'm looking at your Instagram right now because I'm trying to grab the exact, like what this is divided between new skin. It's like the thing that's there looks like almost just like a bubbly alien head with like a bunch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Your guys
I love that.
You're very brandable. You're very marketable because you have in this blasé world where everybody's got the same kind of fonts and same kind of shit. You do not. You guys, obviously you work very hard on that, but where does that stem from? Do you guys do it in house? Do you hire? Where are you at with that?
Yeah, we're really like, conscious of that. It's like when we first started Trench and we were just like jamming in the basement, like not even playing shows. No one knew who the hell we were. We were like, we need a color, you know, like we need to be, we're all like kind of nerds about it. Our singer Jay's a tattoo artist. A really dang good one at that. So, I mean, we're all kind of conscious of the art aspect of stuff. So from the very beginning of the band, we were like, let's get like a sweet logo. We have a color. Let's just roll with that, you know, and be aesthetic as well as, you know, musical and making cool music. So for most of our art, we've worked with a dude named Water Street Phantom. His name's Stace. He's from Calgary, actually, but
Nice.
He's worked all over the world. The guy is an absolute genius. He did the covers for Blossom, Encased in Chrome. He did all the stuff for Divided Between New Skin and our new record that's coming out in August. He did that. He did an animated video for us for the 3 songs off Divided Between New Skin. He really helps our art direction, you know. We kind of just like we love the spacey looking wild art, like the mech kind of biomech stuff.
Yeah,
almost
it's very unique.
Yeah, and he is basically the guy behind all that. We kind of just like give him a loose like, hey, we think this could be cool, and we just like let him go to town. And sometimes he brings us like kind of what we were talking about. Sometimes he brings us something completely different. But every time he's delivered something for us, we're like all blown away. And he's like a homie. Like we go out for food and drinks with this guy on the regular and stuff. So he really like, we love working with him. You know, he's just an amazing dude. I think, you know, a lot of our merch, we've kind of just taken like stills of the stuff he's done for us and like put it on a shirt. And then for our new merch run, and a lot of our kind of like the logo was made by a guy named Kevin. He runs a company called Soft Surrogate. They're from Kelowna, which is kind of near where we're from. And again, he's like a homie of ours. Like we hang out with him. We see him all the time. And he does stuff for like Deftones and Alice in Chains and shit. That's like we're like the smallest band he works for, like, you know, and he's just a homie, and he created the Trench logo and the kanji, and he did the layout for our record. Like he did all the fonts on our new record, and the Divided Between New Skin fonts and the Dust to Bone fonts. That's all Kevin. So between Water Street Phantom and Kevin and just our brains, we just kind of make it happen. But yeah, we've always been really conscious about the art, and I think that's we get, you know, a lot of people are like, man, it looks like a clothing brand, or like you say, it's like very like brandable. And that's a compliment to us, you know. That's you know, we would love to, our merch table on this last run, we had like candles, and we had like tote bags and posters and flags, and it kind of does look like a brand, you know what I mean? Because it's all consistent and it's all Stace's art. So
I think some of the best do that. Yeah, I think some of the best really do that. Like when we, like when I've had the pleasure of being able to open up for some legendary guys over the time as well. And then every time what I'm usually looking for, because we try and do our own thing on stage and you want to be your own self. I mean, imitation is flattery, sure. But what I'm really always trying to cop style from is I go straight to their merch booth and say, what's the weird shit they have here? What makes this all tie this together? Obviously people need to still have like some physicals, maybe even vinyls. You need t-shirts and long sleeves. But I mean, like what we played with Exodus, they had like a hot sauce. They had their own hot sauce. I was cool. Like, I need to fucking do that. Like there's no way that we can like not have, well, our one of our band name is Molten. So I was like, Molten Lava Hot Sauce would be like, you gotta make sense. Why did we miss that? But yeah, I'm saying like when you guys, when you're talking about having like your merch booth be like very marketable, I can tell. And that, again, just hats off to you guys, because following you guys for the past few years, like I said, I found you guys during COVID when everybody was just sitting around doing fucking nothing. You're looking for anything to inspire you. And when the album came out in 2020, that's where I originally started gravitating to you guys and started just to kind of, you know, I won't lie and say I've just been right up your ass this whole 5 years or whatever. No, but like, I mean, you've been on my radar, and not only that, you guys have played with some legendary ass bands, like as far as Comeback Kid, who are huge people to me. I think that's one of my favorite middle thousands hardcore bands, among others. So I guess I already asked you kind of like on this tour, was there like something that was stood out? But playing for the past, since you've basically gotten back out through COVID and really you guys have been hitting the road hard, are there a couple standout shows that you've been, like something that really rings in your mind that are some of the more famous to you that you've played?
Yeah, there's a few. You mentioned Comeback Kid, man. Those guys are like my besties. Like I grew up with Comeback Kid. They're all from Canada. I've known them for years. We actually have Andrew on our new LP. That's coming out. We got him on a song on hard vocal, on kind of like a breakdown. So we played with them a few months ago in Calgary, and that shit was amazing. Sorry, I'm going to use my cough button here, which I don't actually have.
You're good.
We went to the UK and played with Cult of Luna and Napalm Death. Ooh. That was insane. Like that was very much like we were there just being like, do we belong here? Like this, it's too good to be true, you know? So that was probably one of the craziest shows we've ever played, was at the O2 Forum with Cult of Luna and Napalm Death. Cult of Luna, they like put us on their like top 10 records of the year last year. Oh, wow. I forget what it was for, Revolver, Brooklyn Vegan or something. I can't remember what publication. And I was just like reading, I just got like, we got tagged in it or something. And I was like, dang, dude. So I like looked through our Instagram, and like, sure enough, the singer Johannes was following Trench. So I just like hit him up randomly. I was like, hey dude, I see you mess with our band. That means a lot. You know, we love Cult of Luna. Huge inspiration for us. You want to talk about aesthetics and like visuals of a band? Like they are like one of the best to ever do it, in my opinion. So yeah, me and Johannes just started talking, man, and hit it off. And yeah, they ended up asking us to come play with them in London. And it was, that was a beautiful thing, man. And, you know, I still talk to Johannes all the time. That guy rides for Trench, and we love everything he does. And Napalm Death, obviously, like, come on. like never thought in my life I'd get to play with those dudes. Wow, that was crazy, man. So I would say that's one of my top shows. Anytime we play with Misery Signals is like a bucket list. Like, wow, I feel like I'm a 16-year-old kid, like giddy playing with my favorite band, you know? Man, yeah, we played a lot of shows, but with some crazy bands. But I think those two bands are like my tops for sure. Oh, and Madball. We did a tour.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Sorry, had to squeak that in.
That's awesome.
Man,
no, I grew up a big hardcore kid myself. Like Lucian has always been a little bit more in like the Lamb of God, Suicide Silence, Death Clock, like that lane of death metal. And we're called the Metal Massacre. Like I have plenty of metal that I enjoy. But growing up, I mean, I was a skater myself too, and I really enjoyed like the East Coast hardcore stuff, your Brace War, your Swamp Thing, your Naysayer, your Have Heart, you go down the list. Like those bands to me are what make me want to punch a hole through a wall and get all fucking rowdy and have a good time. And your guys' music does a lot of that as well for me. I mean, that shit, whenever I have to head to the gym after this interview, and you know what, I'm going to be blasting you motherfuckers as loud as I can.
Hell yeah, dude. Let's go, man. I love when people say they listen to our music at the gym. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm glad we can help you like lift heavy stuff and, you know, be motivated in that way.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's like a powerful thing, man.
Yeah, dude, it is. It's like, that's a huge compliment, dude. We're all such like quiet, nice dudes that if anyone says anything nice about us, we're actually like, thank you. Fucking actually like means a lot, dude. But yeah, I had someone message me the other day and they were like, man, crushing your album at the gym. It's like I deadlifted whatever today, and I'm just like, fuck yeah, bro, that's awesome. I need to do the same thing, man. You know, but yeah, going back to Madball, those dudes, that was literally like meeting like legends for me, and they really like, I guess they rode for Trench, man. They really liked it, and we had a great time on tour. Still talk to those guys all the time too. So I hope we can tour with them again. That'd be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you'll make it happen. I mean, you're having this much fun with them. Why won't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Time.
And it's cool because they're like a hardcore band, and we're maybe a little more metal leaning, but we found the package together was really like effective. And, you know, I think now people are really open-minded. And a diverse bill is usually preferred in a lot of places. So I know I prefer it. So
yeah, I don't want to see the same type of music all the time. You know, like, I mean, you have your headliners you came there for, but I love variety. I'm all about variety. Like Dustin said, I'm more of the metal guy, but you know, within metal, there's, I mean, Jesus, so many variations and genres and collaborations and fusions even nowadays, where it's like metal itself. And I think this is something we're kind of tackling as we do the show, is like metal has continuously evolved, and it never stops changing, because there's going to be 5 new genres of metal in 6 months.
Yeah.
And I love it though, because as a consumer, why wouldn't you want variety? Why wouldn't you want people to experiment and to take those risks and those chances? And that's something I feel like you guys kind of did with your music, especially with this later stuff, is you took some risks. And I think they really pay off here, especially in this latest AP. And like, it was something that I found myself repeating a lot. And I'm one of those people that's weird about albums. I like to look at the whole album as one big experience. And I'm like, from front to back, what does it make me feel? How does it do it? And what's the journey like? And this is one of those things where for me, I love shorter content because it's so much more bingeable. I mean, dude, I could listen to your album like 40 times and still be like, it's still digestible even more. You know what I mean? Like, it just lends itself to that kind of a base of listening. And I'm kind of a sucker for it. So excuse me for fangirling out a little bit right there, but I rarely run into bands that do that kind of thing that I will feel like I could commit to. But I really like your guys' stuff, and I'm excited to see this LP. When are we planning on this?
August 16th it drops. So actually the 4 songs that we released. That's like the EP on Spotify and Apple Music. They're going to be a part of that album.
Nice.
So yeah, we have it's a nice, like, diverse journey, man. Like, literally, we wrote it as if we were like trying to score a movie or something. Like, we really were intentful with that. And we got some really cool features. You know, I love music. I love hip hop music, especially with like heavy features. Like, there's hip hop records where every song's a feature, which I kind of like. It introduces me to new artists and stuff. And
yeah,
for this record, I was like, can we please do it hip hop style and have, like, you know, I want to say 4 of the songs have features on them. Yeah, I think 4 songs have features on them, and they're all very, like, diverse and different.
Well,
we tried to pull from different genres and stuff. So
I think that you're exactly right in the vein where you're saying not only does it expose you to new artists, but what I think it does even more is allow an artist to be more creative, because it's your album. Like, it doesn't matter what rapper is doing that. And like, I'm a huge hip hop head myself as well. So don't get me wrong. But what I love about that is that when you see featuring, I'm going to get that person's feel. One of the ones that I don't know why it just popped in my head is like ASAP Ferg made a song with Missy Elliott, and she had that dude like singing a chorus the whole time when he's like normally just trap rapping. And like, you're not going to get that out of him otherwise. But with metal, obviously with you guys doing the thing with, is it City and Color? That was the news. Yeah. So that, honestly, the singer from my other band was like, oh, you guys having them on there? They just dropped that thing with City, and like, that's someone that normally doesn't listen to this heavy of music and knew who you guys were because of that. So like, I think you're right on target with this. And what it does is really open up a bunch of availability for what you're able to do.
Thank you, man.
Of course. I do want to ask, just for the gearheads out there, because I know that it's a metal show and everybody's watching everybody's fingers. What guitars are you rocking? What is the live setup like? What's the stage show looking like? What do you play? I'm a Jackson guy myself, but
okay. Yeah. We could get into it, man. I love gear. So I'm always happy to talk about gear, dude. I actually like switched my whole setup for this Misery Signals tour. I use an Ibanez 7-string. I use the Apex series, which is the Monkey from Korn's signature guitar.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've used it on every Trench record. I've used the stock pickups, like the Blazes, and they're fucking awesome. Like, that's what I love about it. They're passive. Like, it's a pretty like basic guitar, 1 knob on it, just a volume knob, and that's it.
It's kind of nice though, you can do your live EQing like with your actual gear around that. Sometimes with like the guitars, and like, it depends on the sound engineer too. Sometimes I get to the front of house and I'm playing something and one of my guitars a little hotter. I try and use active for everything, but then like I'm getting like buzz out of this thing. Where normally having that one knob or that one toggle, honestly, my dad likes to build his own guitars, and that's the way he does all of them when he builds them, is like, not just for ease of access and building them. One knob, and I'm going to tune this fucking Bogner head to be as sick as possible.
Yeah, 100%. It's the ease of use for me. And like, if I love the tone of the guitar, I'm not going to fuck with like 3 or 4 different knobs, especially playing live. I want to like keep it easy. You know, you want to focus on like rocking out, and not, you know, the easier you can keep it on the gear end live, the better for me. Our other guitar player uses the Susi ESP signature 7-string, which is a just gorgeous guitar. It has Fishman pickups in it. And those sound fucking ripping, dude.
Real bright.
Sorry. Yeah. Real
you can
bright.
swear all the fuck you want. We're good.
Cool. I'm Canadian, so it just kind of comes out. But yeah, he has the ESP Susie, and that just sounds amazing. And I switched my live setup, and so did he, from like a 5150, like 30-year-old 5150 head. we modded it. We put in like a little like gain knob in the back of the head, and people always ask me about my tone, like on the records and stuff. And I'm like, man, you cannot replicate it, because I've like modded my 5150 with this little knob. But the thing about it is like, it was a huge safety issue, because anytime I would like touch the back of my head, I'd get shocked.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
It sounds sick.
Awesome. Yeah. But yeah, it was a little, once we found out we were doing the Miz-Sigs tour, I was like, okay, I'm going to streamline my setup for touring, you know, because I want less gear on the road,
right,
but I don't want to sacrifice my tone. So I went quad Cortex.
Okay.
So both of us are using quad Cortexes. I pretty much like Stu from Comeback Kid and Misery Signals. I pretty much like texted him and I'm like, what do I do, man? Is quad Cortex the move? And he was just like, I love it. I would recommend it, and kind of gave me like the rundown and how to use it a little bit. And because of him and Chris from Stick to Your Guns, another dude, I texted and was like, hey bro, I know you use this. Like, is this what I should be using? You know, surveyed the area a little bit, got some different opinions, and they both were like, this thing's solid. So, yeah, I was worried about my tone, dude, but like, I feel like my tone is actually better with it. I feel like it's way easier to tour with. It's way more reliable. I run it through a Seymour Duncan Power Stage 700, which is like, it's the middleman between the quad Cortex and the cab. So I can still run it through like just a regular, I use orange cabs. So I run it through like my orange cab, and dude, I think the tone is awesome. I can like,
I agree.
If a room is a little different, like I can just press the button and, you know, dial back my reverb or turn up my noise gate or whatever I want to do. Mm-hmm. So, it's really easy to tweak. And then I use a whammy pedal beside it and a delay pedal, an Echo Brain delay. That was a delay like you can do all that stuff in the quad Cortex, but those things I was just like, I'm going to keep them on my board. They're like on every Trench record in a lot of our songs. So I'll just keep them in the board. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And I do have another pedal there just in case my quad Cortex doesn't turn on or something one day. I can still play the set by plugging into one of my overdrive pedals. So that's what I'm using. Our other guitar players using a very similar setup as me. And
that's awesome, dude.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, it's like, that's our new touring rig. I almost want to record with the quad Cortex because it sounds that good. Like I'm that blown away by it. So I might mess around in the studio with it.
That's high praise.
Yeah, that's a recommendation. If you're saying you chose it just to tour with and now you end up probably using it on the record, I mean, damn, dude, that's awesome.
It's crazy, man. It's just, it has so many options and it's like so streamlined, and yeah, so that's going to be my baby moving forward for sure.
So I was kind of saving this question for later in the episode here. I think it's the perfect time. So we were kind of discussing earlier the idea of your albums kind of being their own soundtrack, kind of being their own self-sustained ideas, you know, a story in itself. Did you, when you were releasing these first 4 songs on the EP, knowing they were going to go on the LP and knowing that they're from different parts of the story, I guess, so to speak, were you aware that you were kind of like in itself creating a new short story with this EP? Was that on your brain, or was this more of just like, hey, here's 4 of our favorite songs and it's more of like, you would say, a mashup? Or was it intended to be like the shorter version, I guess? Yeah,
good question. It was very calculated. We released the first 3 songs, and they're going to be the first 3 songs on the LP. Okay. Those flowed together really nicely. And then we have a video for those 3 songs all together. It's that animated video that Water Street Phantom did. So we were aware that, yeah, that was going to be kind of its own entity until the LP comes out in August, you know? And then we released the City and Color song, Dust to Bone, just as a little like we had to release another track just business wise on the back end. It's like they want our label, just the business strategic stuff. They want stuff to be coming out kind of consistently before the album cycle starts. So we decided to release the Dust to Bone song. It has Dallas Green and Matt Kelly from City and Color and Alexis on Fire on it, my dear friends. And we thought that'd be the perfect song to release, before we go do 3 weeks of touring. And kind of, it's an odd song for us, it has like a big singing ballad in it and stuff. So we wanted to let people know that, we're all over the place on this record. We're just writing music that we would want to hear. So, and it's cool that people are kind of listening to it and being like, oh, this is creating like its own little story. And then once the LP comes out, you can listen to the whole thing in full. Yeah. And see how everything strings together,
It's like getting a movie and then realizing, oh, wait, this is just a theatrical cut. And then the director's cut is like another hour long. And you're like, what? Like, that's how I kind of feel.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
And like, it's interesting. And I'm glad I guessed it right, that those 3 songs were in order. Because I was like, I sat here and I thought about this today. I woke up early because I was like, I'm going to re-expose myself and just have a binge fest just because I want to get in the mood of what we're talking about. And I kept listening to this new EP over and over and over. And I thought, okay, if there's more songs and these 3 songs are not in this order, that's going to blow my mind because they just fit so well together. And I sat there going, fuck, dude. Like, I almost like did the whole like National Geographic, like aliens, like that kind of conspiracy level thinking about it. And I was like, damn, I really hope they're in order in that way because they fit really, really well together.
Man, I'm glad we could make you think. That's cool. Like it's funny because it's like that top level thinking of like, how are these songs going to fit together on a record? That's kind of why we released those 3 songs all together, because they do flow so well with each other that we were like, this will make sense. Let's do it this way. Yeah. But it's, it'll make even more sense once we release the LP and you can hear everything woven into each other, where we really make it so there's not many stops there. Like in between songs, you won't hear a lot of just dead air. We kind of weave everything in together with, I do a lot of like electronic, like interludes and stuff like that. So, like we've been saying, like more of a movie style. And another funny thing about those 3 songs is we had commissioned Stace, Water Street Phantom, to do the animation before those songs were like fully done being written. And so there's actually like stuff we added to those songs to like make it so it was the same time as the animation, which is funny to think about, that we're like, oh, we should add this part because it adds like 15 seconds. Like, can we write a ripping little riff for 15 seconds to like bring us to the end of the video,
Dude, I love
and then
that.
man. And then with my like electronics in there and stuff, I was doing it to the video. I was literally like watching the video being like, hey, I have 5 seconds. Let's explore some synths and stuff, So it's a funny thing that we were doing it to the video, but it was totally worth it. Made the music better too. So that's the funny thing about like working with a visual artist and writing music for the stuff he's doing. It's like, it's going to challenge you and probably bring out the best in both,
Yeah. I think that's probably my favorite kind of a collaboration. Like he mentioned earlier, I'm a fanatic of Metalocalypse and Deathclock. So anytime music and animation can be married, or like even the Gorillas, like that kind of stuff, it's just like, to me, it's so much more powerful than just animation or just music. Like when you can properly combine those 2 things, it's so much more of an experience. And I love that you guys have thought about your music as an experience. Like that gets me more hyped on things, to be honest with you. Like I'm a nerd and I'm a collector. So like I'm collecting bands and comic books and fucking every little thing I can. So I love to I love to collect experiences. And I think that also translates to my music collection as well.
Dude, for sure. Yeah. Like, and same here. I'm a collector. I'm a nerd. I'm into all sorts of different shit, and I love like right now I'm looking at this, which is on my desk. My signed Spawn figure.
That's awesome.
Like I love all that kind of shit, and I know that, and so does the rest of my band. You know, like Jay, our singer, loves anime and stuff. So I know like our love of other art comes out in our music, which is funny. And all the way down to the live show, we try and make it an experience instead of just sitting there like still playing our songs. It's like let's do cooler stuff. You know, we have like a cool light show, and we have a cool like LED like backdrop of different animations and stuff like that. So yeah, we try and make it not just about the music, you know, it's about the whole experience. So
yeah,
I think saying that.
Yeah, I just think that translates well. But
it shows.
Before we kind of wrap up here, did you have any final like comments, anything you wanted to tell our fans?
Check out Trench. Thank you for checking us out if you already have. You know, we're kind of just like, we're still just like showgoers and like lovers of art ourselves. So the fact that anyone's even listening to our band kind of blows our mind a little bit still. You know, we're like very appreciative of anyone who checks us out or has anything cool to say about our band. We really love that. And yeah, keep your eyes on our social media. We have a lot of stuff to announce. We got a busy year ahead, and then the record comes out on August 16th. It's going to be called Between Inverted Worlds. Features from Culta Luna, Comeback Kid, Wake from Calgary. They're an awesome like a melodic blackened death metal band, and of course Dallas Green and Matt Kelly from City and Color. So that's it, man. I just appreciate you guys for having us on, and thank you.
Hell yeah. Well, guys, keep it metal. Check out Trench, or we're gonna fight you.
They'll fight you for sure. I won't.